I got a question to ask you. What game, based on the toy we're going to be talking about, what is the game that we all love, but we hate playing? The answer is Hello Neighbor. Today we are going to be looking at some Hello Neighbor toys from toy company McFarlane Toys. Today we're going to be reviewing the neighbor from this line. And on the back there are some other characters in the set. Well, most of them just being variants of the neighbor. Here's this one with a different face expression, and it comes with a butcher apron. And then there's a rarer version with him with an evil smile. And then there's the player, who is called the Kid, but his name is actually Nick. And then here's the neighbor that we are reviewing right now. It's just the regular variant. And there's Dynamic Pixels and Tiny Builds, the people that are responsible for Hello Neighbor. And McFarlane Toys is the company that makes, the toys. You can also follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And you can also go into their website. Now, before I open this, I just want to say that these figures are super hard to find. Like, they're really hard to find, at least in stores. Like, they're available to get for cheap online. I mean, like, I bought mine on eBay. But these things, I haven't seen them in stores. Like, I checked Target, they didn't have them. And, like, I checked, like, Walmart, so they didn't have them. And, like, the only store I went to that had those was, this calendar store, like, the Toys and Calendar store. It's like a mall outlet. The one in Indiana, not the one near me, but I went to one in Indiana. But, enough said. I'm gonna be opening the figure up, but the only problem is that the packaging is so good. I don't want to open this figure up, but we have to anyway, so stay tuned. Okay, I just opened the figure up, and before we take a look at the accessories, I just want to give you a warning. If you're planning on buying this figure, this toy, I don't really think this toy was meant for children to play with, because the articulation on him is really stiff. Like, he's not really as, he's not as loose as, a Jazzwares figure, but, he is very, stiff. And, every time I move his, joints or something, it feels like I'm gonna, break him, and, yeah, he does have a lot of articulation. The only problem is that, oops, he just lost a leg, but, don't worry, it's ball jointed. It snaps back on easily. But anyways, so yeah. The Bendy figure, I'll show him later. His box said ages 14 and up, cause, the game is, rated T for teen, as seen in, the official box art for the, console releases. The package on this figure said ages 12 and up, so yeah, definitely not a good toy for your children to play with, so I just want to give you a heads up if you plan on buying this figure. But before I take a look at the figure, let's take a look at his accessories. And one thing I like about the accessories on this one, as well as the Bendy figures, is that they were great for World Nintendo action figures, if they want to hold on to something. He comes with a yellow key from the game, which you could just, I don't know, plug on or something. Yeah, I don't think, he can hold the key, but I'm pretty sure, let's see if he can hold the shovel. I'm pretty sure he can hold the shovel in any way, but, yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. So let's take a look at the neighbor himself, and he looks really good, in terms of, the game. He looks very accurate to the game. And, yeah. Even though the game is bad, I still like Hello Neighbor for being very creative. And, yeah, so Mr. Peterson over here, and yes, that is his real name. He's looking pretty good. He's definitely based on his model from Hello Neighbor, and you know how like on a lot of for a figure as skinny as like a character, you would think the articulation, at least on the elbow and knee joints, would look off like the Jazzwares Sonic figures. But the knees on this guy, his knee joints don't make his legs look off in any way. McFarlane Toys was able to capture the legs very fine without executing knee joints. So that's actually a surprise. Jazzwares, if you're watching this, please take note of it. But anyways, as far as articulation, he has a rotating head joint, but it's very limited. Do you hear that? Yeah, it's very limited. And we got those universal shoulder joints, which they can only mostly go out like that. So like I mentioned, this is a pretty stiff figure. Like, I definitely wouldn't recommend this toy for children. But he does have the universal elbow joints that can move anywhere and are not that limited. And his gloves, they do rotate. Now, I'm thinking his waist is rotatable, and it is, but like I said, it's very limited. And you saw that here he has balls in the hips. They're ball jointed, and they can go anywhere around, and they really snap off easily. And he has almost like a 90-degree knee movement that just rotates, and he has rotating ankle joints. I'm not so sure if they're like ball jointed or anything, but I'm pretty sure they just swivel. And yeah, so pretty much the figure is, I don't know, like, he has a good representation of Mart. It's just that, I don't know, he doesn't really hold his accessories that well. You have to just wedge it in there. And also not to mention that he's very stiff into Poseability. So overall, he's not a bad figure. You're like, he looks great. It's just that he's very stiff in Poseability. But for comparisons, here is a World and Nintendo Mario figure, and I think that scale is pretty decent. Mart over here kinda scales decently with the World Nintendo figures. I'm kind of a sucker for watching FGTV, so I have to bring in the Fat Mojo Bendy figure, because the family pairs up with Bendy and the neighbor, which they call them Mart, and I sometimes call him Mart, and yep, that's definitely a good scale. Like, it's definitely a good combo between Bendy and Hello Neighbor. In fact, speaking of Bendy, there was once a collaboration with, I'm not so sure if it was like official or not, but there was like a crossover with Bendy and Hello Neighbor where the neighbor has like a Bendy picture on his face, and in chapter 1 of like Bendy and the Ink Machine, the Ink Bendy is replaced with the neighbor. So yeah, it's basically it right now. So overall, it's not a bad figure. It's just pretty stiff. So I definitely would have to grade him a B for that one. And thank you for watching this video.